Welcome back, Cyprus user. In today's session, we are going to discuss about the costing method. And to the previous video, as I have told you that there are going to be 7 costing methods in 3 costing level. So in today's session, we are going to understand how these costing methods used to work into the Cyprus ERP system. So you would be able to see the Excel, and in this particular Excel, there is left side the costing engine status, and on to the right side there are certain transactions. And based on this, we are going to understand. So to test the average invoice costing method, which is also known as moving average, that is also known as weighted average. So if you want to test the average invoice costing method, then you need to create one of the product category. And at the level of the accounting tab of the product category, you need to select your costing method as average invoice and costing level as organization. Since I have prepared this example by considering that your costing level is going to be the organization. And thereafter, you need to create a product the way I have created one of the product here, that is the HP laptop, and you need to assign this particular product into the created product category. Now, once the product is there, thereafter you would be able to see the status that you do not have anything available presently. But if you have to enter the opening balance, and in my example as well, I have considered that I have entered the opening balance, and the cost for the product is 25,000 per unit for 10 quantities. So this is my opening balance that I have entered on 1st of April. And on to the right side, there are certain transactions which will which are processed into the Cypress ERP system, and as a result, the costing status gets kept on changing. So we'll showcase you how it is working and how system is calculating all these costs. Now, the another important terms in terms of these transactions, I'm considering that all the transactions are considering the base currency and the primary unit of measurement. As you know that the cost is always gets calculated into the primary unit or the unit of measurement and always into the primary currency. So let's move on. As I mentioned that we have the opening stock available, in that 25,000 per unit is the cost for 10 quantities on 1st of April. And on 1st of April as well, I'm just procuring 100 quantities with 27,000 per unit cost. And I have sent the purchase order to the vendor. Now the vendor sends the material. I have received that material 100 quantities, and I have entered my AP invoices. So soon I will complete my material receipt and the AP invoice transactions. You would be able to see the impact of all these at the level of the costing engine. So the system will calculate the cost, and my cost becomes 26,818.18, and my total on hand stock would be 110. Now, how this gets calculated? So your opening is this value. So the system is calculating in this way. So it will multiply 27,000 multiplied by 10. Thereafter, system is considering this total price, that is 100 multiplied by 27,000. So that is this value, and thereafter it will sum all this, and the total stock is 110. So it will do this divided by 110. So as a result, the system calculated the cost to 6818.18, and that becomes the cost on 4th of April. Okay, so that is how system calculates the cost. Now let's assume the next transaction is, after placing your margin, your sales price becomes 35,000 and you are selling out of 110 50 quantities. And when you did the delivery, you would be able to see the costing engine status on 5th of April is 26,818.18 and 60 quantities. If you can see this, there is no change into the cost, only the change comes into the quantities since we are delivering the goods. And thereafter, we send the AR invoice to the customer. Thereafter, again, we are procuring the new laptops. Now, this time on 5th of April, we raised the purchase order. 100 quantities we are procuring, but this time I am getting 26,000 this laptop, while previously we received it 27,000. So now when we are receiving this material, Then we received all the 100 quantities, and thereafter we have generated the AP invoice. Then there is a change into the costing status. You would be able to see the costing. The quantities are going to be 160, and there is going to be different per unit cost. So how the system calculates this per unit cost? We'll calculate this once again. So it is going to be this multiplied by this, and next is basically this value, and our total stock is going to be, because 60 was available previously and 100 we have received now. So this is 100 quantities that we are receiving. So it is going to be 160. So the system sum up both of them, and then it will divide the value by 160. So it is going to be the cost as 26,306.82. So that is how the system calculates the average invoice or the weighted average invoice. And that's all in this particular video. If you like this video, then I would request you to subscribe. Till then, thanks a lot. Bye bye.